Hello there everyone, and welcome to the Path to Pain-Free Group Challenge. I'm Miriam, holistic life coach and mind body practitioner, and together with Duncan Clark, my partner, I shall be guiding you through this chronic pain challenge to try and give you a different way of looking at your chronic symptoms, and also to spread hope and give you some effective tools to work with. So basically, you can safely go ahead with this challenge if you suffer from chronic pain or symptoms, and if you haven't been diagnosed with any serious medical condition. By serious medical condition, I refer to things like cancer, infection, or any condition that requires urgent medical treatment. There's still hope for you if you have been diagnosed with an incurable condition like fibromyalgia, or if you've been diagnosed with a structural condition in your spine or anywhere else in the body for which you haven't found effective relief. So I just encourage you to try this out. We'll just be sharing a few simple techniques in the next few days. And if you keep an open mind, you never know what might work for you, right? So the concept behind our approach in Path to Pain-Free is that physical pain can be a result of a negative emotional state. So by negative emotional state, I mean negative repressed emotions, things that we're denying to ourselves, things that we haven't emotionally processed, for the sake of wanting to get on with life or for the sake of wanting to be positive. It could also be recurrent stressors in your life and feelings, negative feelings that you've been carrying around day to day, such as feelings of anger towards someone or something, feelings of resentment, feeling of helplessness. So any feeling that tends to persist in your life, in your day-to-day, tends to recur, So if you notice, you tend to have similar emotions and feelings from your day-to-day, unless it's a special day or you're on holiday, So there seems to be a pattern. And what we've noticed, not just me and Duncan, but all the people who are working in mind-body healing, and especially the founders of this approach, especially Dr. John Sarno, on whose approach to chronic pain we base our teachings upon. So what is being noticed is that chronic pain tends to mirror this pattern of emotional distress, right? So if there are repressed emotions or negative feelings that are being replayed from day to day, most likely your pain or symptoms will keep on being replayed as well. So in a way, you can say that physical pain or symptoms that are chronic and that are not due to things like viruses or infection, they are kind of a mirror to your emotional state. And this is why they keep recurring, right? Because someone may be resentful at life or at someone else for years, And this is why if he keeps on replaying these feelings, sometimes even without knowing, without being aware of it, then the chronic symptoms might keep on being manifested in the body. There's also another element, and that relates to the fact that the way that we react and perceive our symptoms or our pain also plays a role, right? Because then we generate more negative feelings. We generate more anxiety, this time towards the pain itself, or towards the symptoms themselves. We start to think that these symptoms or this pain, they're going to ruin our lives. They're going to stop us from living the life that we would want to lead. So that's another aspect that Duncan and I will try to help individuals with in this group. So the important thing to understand at first is that even though I might be suggesting that your pain or symptoms are due to your emotions, this doesn't mean that your pain or symptoms are in your head. Not at all. What neuroscience has taught us today is that every feeling and every thought creates a chemical okay, in the body, and all sorts of different physical symptoms, okay? So think of it like having an increased heartbeat when you think about something stressful, right? So that increase in heart rate is real. You can measure it, okay? But you know that it's due to that thought that you've been having. So most of us know that stress can have an impact on our physical bodies, but we're not aware of the extent to which it actually affects our chronic pain levels. This is the point I want to deliver in this first day of the challenge. It's for you to understand that chronic TMS or mind-body pain is physical, but the origin may still be emotional. So I don't want to complicate things here. So all I want you to do is to start taking action right away. So what I want you to do is decide that for the next days you're going to have an open mind and you're going to try to do everything that Duncan and I will tell you to do. Right? So this is the first thing I'm going to tell you to do for today. I want you to think about your main symptom, okay? Or your main symptoms if you have multiple chronic symptoms. And I want you to take time to reflect on all of the things that happened in your life during the year preceding these symptoms. So I want you to take note of everything that you remember during this year. So it could be a positive thing like a wedding or having a child, but it could also be negative things like losing someone, like having a court case, having anything that made you extremely stressed or angry in the previous year. I want you to be honest with yourself and write down how each situation that you remember has made you feel. Okay? So all of the fears and emotions that came up with each situation, and that at the time you may not even have been aware of. But now in hindsight you might realize, oh, that thing was really stressful. That thing threatened my self-image, or I nearly lost my job, or I was so scared for my relative. So I want you to get super clear on how each of these circumstances that you still remember from the year before you've developed your symptom, okay? I want you to get clear on how you felt about them. And now in hindsight, you can make sense of how something affected you even more, because in that moment, sometimes you might be so immersed in the situation, okay, so stressed that we might not even realize exactly. We haven't had time to process it. But now you can start processing it. And once you've taken some time to write down this list of things and to write down how each of them might have affected you, I want you to ask yourself, could it be possible that my pain was telling me something, that my pain might have been the boiling point of all of this? Because we notice that in a lot of people, a strong chronic symptom first comes up after a negative emotional experience. Sometimes we don't even realize how negative it's affected us, because it might be related to something that is being perceived as positive, like a wedding. Weddings can be so stressful. They can cause all sorts of conflicts, especially with family members. So, if you got married, or if you had a child in the year before your main symptoms started, I still want you to reflect on how that event might have triggered negative emotions in you. And I want you to do this just because I would like you to ideally start seeing a link between your chronic symptoms and your emotional and personal life. If you don't see any link at all, then there might be other reasons for why your pain is persisting, which we might be covering in other videos. But usually a lot of people can pinpoint, can think of a significant negative event that preceded their first symptom, okay? Or their most terrifying, agonizing symptom. So that's basically your task for the day. Take your time. You don't need to write everything down. You just need to write that list of events that happened in the year preceding your symptoms and reflect a little bit on each one of them. So that's it for today. Okay, I'll see you again tomorrow for the next challenge, and wish you the best of luck and loads of insight in the next days. Bye-bye.